what's going on, guys? Team Fusion here, back with another video. Now in today's video, I have my ice barrier deck. Now for those of you who don't know, one of my first videos on this channel was me opening up the ice barrier structure deck. And I said in that video I probably wouldn't do a deck profile, but I started playing the structure deck and I started liking it. So here we are now. Anyway, let's get right into it. Starting off, I run 3 General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. Now, what he does is, whenever a spell or trap would be sent to your opponent's graveyard, it's instead banished, which can be really useful. And if you control another Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon him from your hand. If he's normally special summoned, you can add an Ice Barrier spell or trap to your hand. So, not only does he banish your opponent's spells and traps, but he also gives you an Ice Barrier spell or trap straight from your deck, which is really useful. Next up, I run 3 Speaker for the Ice Barriers. Now, like General Wayne, she has the effect of if you control a Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon her from your hand. But she has a graveyard effect, where you can banish her from your graveyard and summon a level 1 token, which, can be useful for synchro summoning. I run 3 Revealer of the Ice Barrier. Now, what she does is, if you control another Ice Barrier, your opponent can't synchro or tribute summon, which doesn't come up that much, but it's still kind of nice to have, just in case. Also, you can discard a card and special summon an Ice Barrier tuner straight from your deck, which is really useful. I run 3 Prior of the Ice Barrier. Now, he also has the effect of, if you control a Ice Barrier, you can special summon him from your hand. But unfortunately, if you summon him this way, you're locked out of your extra deck, which, that's not good. It prevents you from summoning level 5 or higher monsters, which all of them are. I run 2 copies of Yugioh of the Ice Barrier. Now, you can tribute him to summon an Ice Barrier straight from your hand, which can be really useful, but also, while he's in the graveyard, you can target a level 3 or higher water monster you control, reduce its level by 2, and summon him from your graveyard, but he's banished when he leaves the field, unfortunately. I run 2 copies of Hexa Spirit of the Ice Barrier. One of your main go-to tuners for this deck. You can basically send Ice Barriers from your deck to the graveyard, and he becomes that level. Pretty sure it only works for level 3 and lower, though. Yeah, you can only send a level 3 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard, and he becomes that. I run 2 Silent Angler. Straight up, if you control a level water monster, just special summon them from your hand, but unfortunately you can't special summon monsters from your hand for the rest of the turn. Just getting into the one-ohs, I run 1 Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier, 1 Cryomancer, 1 Strategist, and 1 Defender. These 2 are just extra tuner options. He allows you to discard a card and draw a card. And she allows you to bounce spells and traps back to your opponent's hand, which can be really useful. Getting into the spells and traps, I run 3 Medallion of the Ice Barrier. What this card does is basically just searches an Ice Barrier monster, allows you to add one straight to your hand, which is really, really useful. I run 3 copies of Winds over the Ice Barrier. This allows you to tribute any number of Ice Barrier monsters and then special summon the same amount from your deck. Really good for, helping you synchro summon, which is what this deck's about. I run 3 copies of Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. Now, it's activated. You can target a level 4 or lower Ice Barrier in your graveyard, summon it, which is great. Allows you to bring something back from the graveyard so you can use it. But also, if you control 3 or more Ice Barrier monsters you control are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that were special from the extra deck, which can be very, very useful. Straight up, your monsters are unaffected, as long as you control 3, of course. I run only 2 Salvage. Allows you to add 2 water monsters with 1500 or less attack from your graveyard to your hand. Good for, recycling tuner monsters. Just the last one, I run 1 magic triangle of the ice barrier and 1 surface. What this does is you can reveal 3 ice barrier monsters in your hand with different names. Destroy 1 card your opponent controls and then summon 1 of those ice barrier monsters. And what this does is it targets a level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua and summons it back from your graveyard, which again is pretty useful. Now getting into the traps, I don't run a lot of them. I run 2 Terror of Trishula. Basically, you gain Trishula's effects based on how many ice barrier synchros you control with different names. 1 is banish 1 card your opponent controls. 2 is banish a card from your opponent's graveyard, and the last one is, of course, banish 1 from your opponent's hand, which is really useful. Only 2, though. Now, just going out for the last few traps, I run 1 Fiendish Chain, the 1 Cracked Out, and the 1 Heavy Storm Duster. This destroys 2 of your opponent's spells and traps, but you can't enter your battle phase. This takes control of 1 of your opponent's monsters. This stops your opponent from attacking. It also negates the targeted monster's effects, which is really, really useful. Alright, getting into the extra deck, I run 1 Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. When it's synchro summoned, you can banish 1 card from your opponent's hand, 1 from their field, and 1 from their graveyard, which is really good. Also, it just has 2,700 attack points, so it's strong too. The 1 Trishula Zero Dragon. What this does is it also has the banish effect, but it only allows you to banish 3 from your opponent's field, not from their hand or graveyard. And if this card is destroyed, you can summon Trishula from your graveyard or extra deck. And its attack becomes 3,300. Unfortunately, it doesn't synchro summon it, so you don't get the effect of Trishula again, but it's whatever. I have 2 Brainiac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. You can discard any number of cards in your hand to bounce the same number of cards from your opponent's field, which is really good. 2 Gungnir, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Basically like Trishula, but you can discard up to 2 cards and destroy the same number. And only 1 Duloran, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. What he does, he allows you to bounce cards from your field back to your hand, and he gains 500 for each. So one of my favorite things to do is use his effect to bounce Frozen Chains, then activate Frozen Chains again, allowing you to summon another monster, which is really useful. Now, overall, this is a really, really good budget deck. It's really fun. The new support really just made this deck better. Alright, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. And make sure to throw a comment down in the comment section below, and I'll respond. Alright guys, bye.